Hello and welcome to Crypto TV. I'm your host, Ornella Hernandez, and I will be breaking down some of the latest news from the Web3 world. The latest on the US regulatory battle for Bitcoin ETF petitions, and Bitcoin's price hits $30,000 again. And please stay tuned because we have a special guest joining us today to talk about what it takes to start a business in the United Arab Emirates. Let's get started. Over the past few weeks, the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission, the SEC, has clamped down hard on crypto giants, suing Binance US and Coinbase for operating as unlicensed securities exchanges and other offenses as well. Now, curiously enough, traditional finance giants are stepping in. Citadel, Charles Schwab, and Fidelity launched a new crypto exchange this week. Blackrock filed for a Bitcoin ETF, Fidelity might be next, and Deutsche Bank wants to offer crypto custody services too. This sounds like a TradFi takeover, to be honest. Let's break it all down. Citadel, a mega hedge fund, Charles Schwab, a broker, and Fidelity, a mutual fund company, teamed up to launch a new platform called EDX Markets. And here's what we know so far about it. It won't hold your crypto. It'll operate like a stock exchange. So retail brokerages will execute trades. The platform will just be where prices are agreed upon. And it's geared towards institutional investors, not retail investors or average individuals. And it's only offering Bitcoin, Ether, Litecoin, and Bitcoin Cash. I get Bitcoin and Ether. I wonder why the addition of Litecoin in there. Now, on top of the news of the EDX Markets platform, big asset managers have also shown their support for crypto. In the last week, we've seen Deutsche Bank apply for a license to run crypto custody services. Blackrock, Invesco, and WisdomTree all file for a Bitcoin ETF. Now, WisdomTree is shooting its shot for the third time since 2021. And there are also rumors that Fidelity, who's also gotten turned down by the SEC once before, will also apply again for its own Bitcoin ETF. So a Bitcoin ETF is an exchange-traded fund, and these are funds that are traded directly on a stock exchange. They do not currently own Bitcoin itself. Rather, they own companies and other ETFs that are related to Bitcoin or cryptocurrency in general, or they own Bitcoin future contracts. So this is a pretty big deal that all of these heavyweight players from the world of finance are climbing on the Bitcoin ETF bandwagon all together and all at once. Maybe they think that it will be sufficient pressure to make the SEC crack. BlackRock has around $10 trillion in assets under management, AUM. Invesco has around $1.5 trillion in AUM, and WisdomTree has $87 billion in AUM. The timing of all this is also particularly interesting. And let us not forget that Grayscale, the digital asset manager, has applied multiple times to convert its own Bitcoin investment trust called GBTC into a Bitcoin ETF last year. So GBTC allows investors to trade shares in trusts that hold Bitcoin pools, and each share is meant to track the current price of Bitcoin. The idea here is that investors can get exposure to Bitcoin without having to buy and hold the asset itself. When the SEC rejected the bid, though, Grayscale ended up suing the regulatory body. I get it, no one likes to get rejected. But it'll be really awkward if the SEC actually approves BlackRock's Bitcoin ETF application and not Grayscale's. So now for the million-dollar question. Is all of this good or bad? Now, on one hand, TradFi could legitimize crypto and open the door for more investors and really onboard the masses. But some critics are worried about centralized entities like BlackRock controlling technology that should be decentralized, which is a legit concern, and it makes me question if anything can truly be decentralized nowadays. Either way, moral of the story is that crypto companies like Binance and Coinbase won't be the coolest kids in school anymore, if the legacy giants are just going to take it over. Interestingly enough, though, there is one crypto player that somehow got on the SEC's good side and managed to register with the SEC. This company is called Promethean. I had not heard of it This company is called Promethean. I had not heard about it until recently, to be honest. But it's a crypto brokerage founded in 2017, and it's the first crypto company to register with the SEC as a broker-dealer. This seems like it could be a big deal, but get a load of this. Apparently, Promethean has not launched a product in 6 years. It raised $50 million from investors without ever launching a product. It even hired multiple SEC and FINRA employees. FINRA is the Financial Industry Regulatory Authority. And its CEO was recently at a congressional hearing where he defended the SEC's recent regulatory crackdowns. Kind of sounds like a teacher's pet to me. But there are a lot of red flags here. So I would not put all of my money on Promethean if I were you. But somehow they did still get that approval from the SEC. What do you guys think about all this? It seems to be applied for a Bitcoin ETF season around here. So will these applications be accepted or rejected? Leave your thoughts in the comments. And please stay tuned for our upcoming guest, a Dubai-based lawyer who will talk about the regulatory landscape in the United Arab Emirates. We have a special guest joining us today, Henzie Healley, the managing partner at the Counsel Services, which is a legal consultancy based in the UAE. And you're here to talk to us about the regulatory landscape in Dubai. How are you today?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for joining me today on Web3 TV.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
So I wanted to start with a little icebreaker game.
Sure.
This or that. So basically, would you rather, but crypto edition.
Okay.
Okay, so BTC or Ether?
BTC.
Really? I go for Ether.
Really? Would you? Why?
Because it was the first cryptocurrency that I invested in. So I kind of have that like attachment to it, you know?
Sentimental legacy.
Yeah. Nothing. I also invest in Bitcoin, but I have a preference for Ether.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
What about you? What year did you buy BTC in?
First time in 2016.
Okay. Oh, pretty early. Do you remember the price that it was at that time?
I think if I remember correctly, it was like 6,000, but I don't remember if it was 6,000 dirham or dollars, probably dollars.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, it was quite low.
Yeah, well, compared to now, and now we have 30,000, guys. How's that?
Well, it'll increase more and more, right?
Hopefully, yes. Okay, next. Instagram or Twitter?
Twitter? I don't really use either.
No? Okay, so what social media do you use?
LinkedIn.
Ah, LinkedIn, okay. So you prefer the professional channels?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. I'm definitely more of an Instagram gal.
Really?
Yeah. I like to keep up with my friends, post pretty pictures.
Okay. We're complete opposites so far. What's next?
Okay. Physical art or digital art?
Oh, that's a tough one.
Do you have a lot of NFTs? Do you invest in digital art?
I do have some NFTs.
Okay.
And the thing is, with art, like, the way that you like it, it touches your soul somehow, and you cannot explain it.
You have to connect with it, yeah.
So I would say both. I
can't choose?
No.
Okay.
Can you?
You collect both then?
Yeah, I would say so, yeah.
Yeah.
I love art. What about you?
I think I'm a little more traditionalist in that sense.
Okay.
Because I just like the physical experience of it all. But now more and more we're seeing like galleries with digital art, and I think now with generative art it's this whole new genre. So I'm definitely getting into it a lot more. But I'd have to say physical art just because I grew up with it. Like my parents kind of instilled that in me, that love for art.
So you would rather than have a physical book than a digital one?
Yeah.
Feel the pages, like the smell.
Yeah, because then I'm gonna be surrounded by it anyways. Where if it's digital, I have to like go into whatever it is, whether it's my wallet or my computer or whatever.
The ape collection or whatever, they did
Bored Apes.
Yeah, Bored Apes. They did it was almost like a psychological study. So they took a famous collection and they flipped them. They mirrored them.
Oh,
because they wanted to see whether the mirrored images would actually have the same value as the originals, and they didn't. So that means that the value that we're attaching on NFTs is more sentimental than, look, there are NFTs that have actual value attached to them, but it seems like there's a lot more sentimental that adds the value.
Right, I think that's what it is. Like you said, you have to like connect with it and you put the value.
Exactly.
It's very subjective, I think.
Yeah.
Right?
Very personal to a person.
Yeah. So which could you share maybe some NFTs that you've invested in? Are they like blue chip collections or maybe some smaller collections?
So it's more so like clients that we've worked with for NFT collections, and then as part of that, like either we will like it and we'll invest, or they'll gift. So yeah. What about you? No, you said you haven't invested in any.
No, I do. I have a few.
Okay.
But trying to invest in a few more. Yeah.
But there's a lot of good stuff happening in the NFT space, like not even just with art, but with people attaching
Fashion.
or actually attaching data to the NFT. So there's a lot of cool things that are being done.
Yeah. But I wanted to hear a little bit more about you and maybe your background, how you got into the space first.
So I would say that it just happened, but I'll explain why. Okay.
How did it just happen?
So we started the firm. The firm is like 4.5 or 5 years old now, and when we started, there was a niche in the startup space, and so we kind of made our name in the startup space, which is really cool too, because you're working with so many different businesses, so many different ideas in so many different sectors, and then we grew to include like SMEs, multinationals, family offices, governmental entities. There are big ones like big companies, but we're seeing so many new ideas and so many new startups, and people coming into the region to start virtual asset businesses. So
okay, so let's talk a little bit about that, and maybe first off, we can just talk about how the UAE regulatory bodies define and categorize virtual assets for these Web3 related companies.
Sure. So in the UAE, you'll know that we have economic free trade zones, right? And there's over 50 in the UAE, and then everything outside of that we refer to as mainland. And so when you are a virtual asset business or Web3 business, metaverse, like crypto, whatever it is, there's only certain free zones that you can get a license from, and those are determined by your activities. So they don't just issue like virtual asset licenses or whatever.
Right.
It's based on activities. So the way that the UAE defines it, I guess we have to think about how the free zones are defining it in terms of their license activities, but then also how VARA, for example, is defining it as the regulatory body governing all of the companies operating in Dubai, other than DIFC.
Okay, so then maybe let's start with just which are the main regulatory bodies.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good question.
And then break it down from there.
Good question. No, that's a really, really good question. So the main regulatory bodies, so we have 2 financially regulated free zones. We have ADGM in Abu Dhabi, and then we have the DIFC in Dubai.
Okay.
So they have their own regulatory, like their own, so FSRA and DFSA, like they have their own.
What does that mean?
They're the financial regulatory authorities of each free zone.
Okay.
So when you apply for something like an OTC license or something that deals in crypto, for example, not all licenses, but you would go through the regulatory process with ADGM or DFC if you're getting your license there.
All right.
And those are the authorities that set the rules and the regulations for those companies operating within those free zones. And then everything else in the Emirate of Dubai, for example, is governed by VARA. So VARA, though, like the Virtual Asset Regulatory Authority, it's an Emirate of Dubai authority. So they regulate the companies within Dubai, other than DFC, like I said.
Okay.
And then we have RAC Oasis, which is opening up, which will be governed by their own.
That's in Ras Al Khaimah.
Ras Al Khaimah, yeah. They will have their own rules and regulations, and then other than that, there aren't any other emirates, to my knowledge, that actually have virtual asset licenses. So those are the
not yet.
Exactly. So we have 3: ADGM, DIFC, and VARA.
Okay.
And the SCA, which is federal.
Okay. Okay.
It's like a tree, and then it just branches off.
Yeah, it's a lot. Okay, so I could see how that could be maybe confusing, yeah, a little complicated for someone coming in. But at the same time, there's a stereotype of UAE that's very like inviting and open, and that the government is supportive. So I do believe that is the case.
It is.
But at the same time, there's a lot of like specifics and details that may not be super explicit.
People don't understand that they need to do it correctly from the beginning. It takes more work to fix a mess than to do it properly, and we've seen a lot of people getting really bad advice and then coming and we're having to almost redo everything. So I think it's just about knowing who to go to that can assist you and do it properly. Because for example, like we work with the stuff on a daily basis.
Yeah.
So for us, it's easy. But for someone that doesn't, it could be a little bit more challenging.
Definitely. Okay. Could you maybe give us like an example, walk us through, obviously without naming clients, but just like what the typical process would be like if someone contacts you looking to start their Web3 related business in the UAE?
Sure, yeah, absolutely. So they would contact us and they say they have a Web3 or blockchain or whatever related business. we would have to talk to them and understand exactly what their business does. Like what's the main part of their business for generating income and that they're going to invoice for, like what are their main activities,
Right.
because that will then determine where we can advise them on setting up. So then once we have that kind of sorted out, then we could tell them these are your options. We would tell them like the differences, the benefits, the pitfalls, which ones we would suggest, and then they would make an informed decision and we would carry out the actions.
Okay.
So, and that would include setting up and doing all their legal documentation, their compliance work, and then getting them regulated if needs be from one of the regulators.
Okay, I see. Have you had any like, I don't know, horror stories maybe that you can share with us when it comes to like things that have just gone wrong?
Things that we've heard
Advising
of.
clients, yeah.
Oh my goodness, things that we've heard of. So we're seeing clients that are being advised. So say for example, token issuance, issuances.
Sure.
So there is a license available in Dubai, which people are not necessarily aware of. But even if there wasn't, we've seen people being advised that they can circumvent this by setting up like a technology company or whatever. But the point being, if there are regulators and if you want to be legitimate, you would not want to circumvent.
Right, no,
those types
you
of
would
laws.
want to do things right.
Exactly,
Yeah.
of course.
Okay.
And so people are being advised of that, or they're being advised of a license that doesn't even cover their activities. So I think like those horror stories, I guess.
Yeah, so just people who have been advised
Yeah,
wrongly,
I think so.
basically.
I'm trying to think like what else would be a horror story. Like what's an example? Then I can see if
Like
I have
scams
any.
and hacks usually are like, people fall for those.
Sure. So we don't deal with litigation. So,
Okay.
but it's an interesting topic, and there's so many interesting things legally about the Web3 or blockchain space, because that exactly that. Say someone steals your tokens or you get involved in a scam or whatever, is there any legal recourse that you can have? You know, would it be the same as if someone stole real property? Like, could you make a claim? Does the courts like recognize a digital asset?
Yeah, it's still really murky right now.
Yes, that's why it's so important to actually really look at the things that you're investing in or working with.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
agree with you.
So what would you say right now, maybe a little more generally speaking, just what would you invest in right now, whether it's, I don't know, maybe real estate or NFTs or the market, like now that maybe things might be looking up for certain assets, what are you interested in?
So the best time to buy is when it's in the dip, right?
Right. It's at a discount now.
Exactly. So no, there's some cool projects that would have been the time. I mean, even real estate is always a good thing to invest in. But what's even cooler now is like the companies that are tokenizing real property.
Exactly. Yeah.
So we've seen a lot of those.
Real estate tokenization, I think, is about to take off, and maybe also even lead us into the next bull run. To be honest, I think because that will bring on a lot more people into the space.
Exactly.
Because it might make more sense to invest in a real property for most people.
Exactly, that they're aware of, but that they can't necessarily do. So yeah, it's a way to get in.
Yeah.
And not even just real estate though, but like actual things of value that people are tokenizing. You know, like old antiques.
Jewelry.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So I think that'll do good too, and then play to earn.
Play to earn. Are you a gamer?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
but I see the potential for that, right, in the future, because I mean, yes, we can look at it two ways. With everything going digital or going the digital way, maybe yes, there will be more jobs because there's more going on, but maybe there won't, right? Maybe more will be taken over by automation or bots or whatever.
With AI, yeah, I think
So
a lot
then-
more things will be automated and just more efficient. Even
Exactly.
like as a journalist, like my writing, I can. Instead of taking 2 hours to do it on my own, I can have like ChatGPT help me and condense the time.
So with that, I mean, I think play to earn will be really big.
Yeah.
Because if people start losing their jobs, I mean, this would be a good way for them to earn money.
That's true.
Right.
That's true.
So,
Were you part of that debate where it was like people didn't like the term play to earn anymore, and they were like, no, it's play and earn. Did you hear about that?
No.
Yeah, that was a thing for a while in the gaming world.
why? What was the issue?
Because then it was like the focus of the games was just to make money, and so people were like the developers weren't focusing so much on the actual like game mechanics and just on the ability to maybe earn an extra buck.
Gotcha.
And so then it's like, no, we're play and earn. It's a fun game, and like bonus, you can also make some money.
So the gamer purists were like, let's stick around like the quality of the game.
Basically.
Fair enough. I mean, if you're passionate about something, right?
Yeah, definitely. I used to play a lot of games, and I'm starting to get into the Web3 games a little more, so.
Really?
Yeah.
What kind of games?
Have you heard of Sweatcoin?
No.
So it's basically like it's move to earn. So you like walk, you move, and you earn some tokens.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
My exercise is just typing on the keyboard and going to client meetings.
But anyways, what is your favorite thing about Dubai?
I love Dubai, like for so many reasons. If we're talking about today's topic, like in terms of Web3 and blockchain and stuff like this, I mean, Dubai has always been at the forefront of welcoming new technologies, like being the best, like the biggest, the best, like encouraging people to come. And if you think about it, Dubai has almost placed itself in a way where it's brought the best of the best from all around the world. And even when they construct things and stuff like this, like it's the best of the best, you know what I mean? So in terms of that, and then they always want to be in the forefront. So look, like everything they're doing with smart cities, the adoption of so much digitalization in various aspects of even the government or other businesses, and then just the incentives that they've brought out as well. Like the chairman of the executive board of Vara said that they want to make the economy almost like into a new economy, which will then focus a lot on Web3, blockchain.
Right. It's a top-down
AI,
approach that they have. They
metaverse.
Really,
yeah. And then you have they established the Dubai Chamber of Digital Economy back in 2021. And so that has really helped facilitate and encourage a lot of digital businesses, startups, unicorns come into the region. They've done so much with the long-term residency visas, so the golden visas or the remote working visas, which has also helped. So what I'm trying to say is when Dubai wants to do something, they will. And they've always been that way. Like if there's something that could benefit the economy or something that can make people's lives better or something that's cool or whatever, they welcome it, like, and just like embrace it. And that's why I love Dubai. Like it's just, I could go on and on, but
I think we're running out of time, but I agree with you. Henzie, thank you so much for joining us today, and everyone please stay tuned for the market report coming up. Now let's look at the price of Bitcoin, which is hovering around the $30,000 mark for the past 24 hours, and it has seen a 20% price increase in the past 7 days. And this is all thanks to what we talked about earlier. All these finance TradFi giants getting on the bandwagon. And thanks to an increase in transactions, Bitcoin's dominance has spiked above 50% for the first time in 2 years. Dominance is the measure of how much the cryptocurrency represents in the total market capitalization of digital assets. So this means that Bitcoin alone accounts for half of the total cryptocurrency market capitalization. And it has 1.1 trillion US dollars of market cap. Bitcoin's current market capitalization is over $500 billion. Notably, Bitcoin's market dominance has increased by more than 10% in the wake of the FTX crypto exchange's crisis and amid all of this increasing regulatory oversight in the United States over the past 8 months. Similarly, the market dominance of Ether has remained stable for the better part of a year, and currently the combined value of Bitcoin and Ether accounts for approximately 70% of the entire cryptocurrency market. Now, on one hand, this means that traders are more bullish on Bitcoin, but it may also represent a weakening sentiment when it comes to the greater crypto market at large. If they're viewing Bitcoin as the less volatile asset, well, it means that they might be less confident in altcoins and the rest of the cryptocurrencies. But then again, the meme coin Pepe seems to be doing pretty well this week too. Now, of course, not everyone is convinced that all of these companies ganging up on the SEC is the best thing that could ever happen to BTC. There is always the chance that they will get rejected again. Now, I would think that at the very least, this signals a clear acceptance of digital assets on the part of TradFi giants, and maybe the combined influence may just be enough to change the US authorities' stance on cryptocurrencies. Either way, Bitcoin's future remains bright, and its influence on the global economy continues to steadily expand. That's all the time that we have today on Crypto TV. Please remember to check out the rest of the Web3 TV YouTube channel and hit that like button, click subscribe, and leave your thoughts in the comments. See you later.